Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Ciaverella. I'm going to help you guys today set up a grid just like Chuck Close would. If you remember, Chuck Close was an artist who would take photographs of the people he loved and he would turn them into huge paintings. And he would do this by using a grid to break down a tough image into smaller pieces. So you can kind of see these squares here. This is how he set up for this painting. So today we're going to do something similar to that. And we are going to choose a celebrity, and then you're going to reproduce that image of your celebrity from 8 by 10 on a photograph onto a piece of 16 by 20 inch drawing paper. So I'm going to help you guys get that set up so that you can make a drawing as awesome as Chuck Close does. You're going to be making your 1-inch grid on this piece of transfer paper or overhead projector sheet. So something to remember, when you're using your ruler, you want to make sure that your numbers are in the right order before you start drawing your marks. See, unfortunately, a lot of students have it backwards and then they get confused as to where their inches are. So make sure you flip it the right side up and you can see all of the numbers going in the right order. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by lining up our ruler this end against the edge of the transfer sheet, but I'm keeping a little space open at the top above the ruler so that I have an area to draw our mark references. So I'm going to make a mark at the top of each inch line. That's that bold line next to the number, not the one above the number, not the tiny one above the number, but that bold line next to each number. And you want to do this to all 4 sides. If you don't do this to all 4 sides and you try to draw your lines too quickly, a lot of people tend to draw a crazy crooked grid, which is going to make your celebrity look a little wonky. Okay, so the other thing you want to make sure you do, because this piece of transfer paper is 8.5 by 11, you have to make sure that you plan out where your 1/2 inch mark is going to be. So I'm going to start by making my 1/2 inch mark over here, and then I'm going to move my ruler straight down, and I'm going to find that other 1/2 inch mark. Line up both your reference points. Spread out your fingers and push down on your ruler so that your ruler doesn't slide as you draw your line. All right, so now I have my 1/2 inch mark set aside, and that's really important so that whenever you put your photo reference on your grid, then you have an area for the tape to go on. So when we come back, all 4 sides will be marked out, and then I'll have the grid drawn and ready to go. Grid. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to take our photo reference, all trimmed and ready to go, so it's 8 by 10, and we're going to make sure it fits well within our 8 by 10 grid. All right, so that's how we're going to want to put it. So I'm going to turn the whole thing over, both the photo reference and the grid, so that I can see that exposed 1/2 inch that we planned for earlier. Next, I'm going to take 3 pieces of masking tape and I'm going to tape the bottom against that 1/2 inch mark, the middle, and the top. And then that creates a little hinge like a book, so that when you turn your photo reference over, if you need to see something that's underneath your grid, all you have to do is pick it up. So we're going from a 1-inch grid on our photo reference to a 2-inch grid on our drawing paper. So this time, we're going to put our Sharpie away. We want to use a pencil. So we're going to do this the same way. We're going to line it up similarly to our transfer sheet, but we want to make sure this time we're doing every 2 inches. Again, that's the bold line next to the number 2. So we're going to go across, put a little notch above each 2-inch area. When you reach the end of your ruler, you can slide your ruler over. Make sure that your notches match up with your other 2-inch lines, and then continue your 2-inch marks. Now you could also do this with your yardstick, but for some reason it just seems to be easier for everyone to do this with a ruler first. All right, so when I come back, all 4 sides will be marked out, and I'll show you how to draw these lines properly and lightly. So I'm working on finishing my grid. I've already drawn my lines this way and this way. If you can't see them, then good, because you want your lines to be light enough that you can erase them as you work your way across your photograph. Okay, so you're going to make sure you're lining up your bottom notch mark and your top notch mark. I recommend holding your pencil at the top where the eraser is. Hold it gently. And you're going to lightly trace a line from notch to notch. That's why it's so important to have all the sides with your 2-inch marks ready to go. That way you can get all of your lines nice and straight. And then your grid is going to help you transfer your portrait nice and cleanly and evenly. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that your drawing paper and your photo reference are oriented in the same way. So if your photograph is in portrait mode, please make sure that your photograph and your drawing paper are both in portrait mode. All right, next you're going to take out that permanent marker again. And I recommend lining the top of your reference, and this is on the grid. And I'm writing letters across the top, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And in the same box as the letter A, you're going to put the number 1. And then you're going to continue to number down small along the edge of your grid. And then you're going to put that marker away, get out your pencil, and you're going to do the same thing very, very lightly. Remember, we want to gradually erase these as our drawing is completed. Okay, and again, the number 1 goes up with the letter A. You're going to number all the way down. All right, so again, I'm at the point where I'm working on the glove. So you want to make sure that you're getting those areas of value as well. And this one goes right here. So you want to make sure that you're transferring different areas of value. You've got highlights that you've got to pay attention to. And you've got these shadows. Now this is a really, really dark shadow. So I'm also going to be shading in as I work my way through each square. Having no luck with pencils tonight. So make sure that you use different types of value, and this is a really dark value. And be careful that you don't go over those highlights. Map those out if that helps you. All right, so that's the end of my tutorial. I'll be around to help you all individually momentarily.